Lamada. He will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Lamada, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely, won't you start all the reading? I just can't wait to be hearing story time with Mr. Lamada. He will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Lamada, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely, won't you start all the reading? I just can't wait to be hearing.
Good morning, and welcome to Story Time. Thank you for joining us. Happy Tuesday. I have to remember it is Tuesday today. Happy Tuesday to every one of you that is joining us today. I am glad you're here. Another exciting week that we have. Many great stories from amazing creators. And we have another great opportunity today to listen in to a power couple creating amazing book. And this one, of course, we're bringing it back. It had to come back. We're here for chapter 2 today, The Konscious Kidz. This one written by Casselberry and Madeline Connor, and of course they are here with us today doing the reading and of course talking about their process and the power of books like this one. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime today. Please do let us know where you're joining in from, and of course who is joining in with you. The more the merrier, and let us know please where you are, and if you have questions please put them in the chat and we will be getting to them as well. And of course even just saying hello to John and Madeline is great. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. They're joining us from the Bay Area too, in Alameda. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Welcome. Happy Tuesday. I hope that you had a lovely weekend, and if it was a long weekend like mine, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope your Monday was beautiful as well. Thank you so much. Let us know how it is here in Oakland. The sun is coming out, but it promises to be a cold day today. We've been told to get our sweaters, get everything ready, and so please, if you're in Oakland or somewhere in the Bay, be sure to go out there with some warm clothing, or indeed do carry something extra. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Glad we're here together. Absolutely love it. I am excited for these guests today, and I hope that you can join us even for the conversation after the reading as well. And please do not forget too that we have a special event coming up, and this one will be also online and in person. We'll be doing an in-person event. I'm excited about it, and also a little bit, still wary, but I'm excited for it. I think it is very important and it'll be amazing. Please do join us for the Green Book Navigating to Freedom, an exhibition by the California Museum in Sacramento. Powerful indeed. Please do join us. And of course, this whole entire week is just amazing. But without much ado, please join me in welcoming to Storytime our guests for today. Oh my goodness, Madeline Connor and John Casselberry. Welcome to Storytime.
Good morning, Peter. How are you?
Hi, Peter.
I'm good. Please tell us about where you're joining us from today.
We're in Alameda. We're in Alameda, California, which is Northern California, Bay Area.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. No, thank you. And I was actually in Alameda last night for my soccer game. When we were talking, and yeah, so it's always a good space, and I love being on Pacific too. Just the little restaurants and cafes. I love that. How long have you been in Alameda?
We moved here.
I think the girls were we have twins that are in 6th grade now, but we moved here when they were like 1. We moved from the Lake Merritt, Oakland area.
Oh, yeah.
So we moved over to Kidsville here in Alameda.
About 11 years now.
Yeah, that's amazing. And also just, we have our amazing people to join us, the amazing Storytime community. And this morning too, Amanda West joining us with Sarah and Nathan in rainy Illinois. And you're saying it is 60 Fahrenheit yesterday and snow tomorrow. Oh my goodness. Isn't the weather crazy right now?
From the East Coast, I remember snowy mornings.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yes. And then good morning to you,
Deborah.
as well. Deborah. I love Deborah. Thank you so much for joining in. And of course, Chriselle and Rocco and Clay joining us out in Long Beach, California. Thank you for joining.
Good morning, Rocco, Clay, Chriselle. Good morning.
Yeah. And with the sun there, you have the sun. Is it bright in Long Beach? Is it warm? Oh my goodness, I'm so jealous right now. And then we have Tori Gambo. It has been a minute. Good to see you back on Storytime Live. Thank you for joining us out in Bothell, Washington. Good to see you, Tori. Thank you for being here. Awesome. So those are some of the people that we have here with us today. But we have this amazing book that you've both created, and of course you worked also with JERL, which
yes,
love the illustrations. I want to hear too how that relationship came about, also how you connected. But I love this so much, and I can't wait for your reading, and also just talk about the power of this book. It's just such an amazing book.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning to you, Rikia, as well. Thank you for joining us in Oakland. I'll see you in class in a little bit. Bring a sweater, Rikia. It is cold out there. And good morning to you, Pamela Cody in Natchitoches, Louisiana. Braylon, where are you today? Chad, good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Well, let's get comfortable as John reads to us The Konscious Kidz, Chapter 2.
Okay.
All right. We'll be back after this for more.
All right. Here we go.
Oh, yours. And we're good, John. You're good. The screen looks good over here.
So, first of all, let me just tell you quickly. We have murals between each story, and this one was by Chris Shem, who goes by the name of Royal Dog, an amazing muralist and street artist out of Korea. And this mural actually is in Alameda. So let's go on with the story. So story number 2, Save Geos. It was another lovely day. Ivy and Lyric were on their way to meet their friends at Geos Pizza Shop to plan their next courageous adventure. Just as they turned the corner to Geos, Flacco came running up to them. He was quite upset. Ivy took one look at him and asked, Flacco, what's wrong? It's the worst thing ever, said Flacco. What is? Asked Lyric. The shop, Geos Pizza Shop, stammered Flacco, barely able to speak. What happened to Geos? Ivy wanted to know. Come on, he said, as he turned and ran. They followed him down the street and around the corner where they found the rest of their friends standing in front of the pizza shop. What's going on? Asked Lyric. Look, said Belle, Geo's Pizza Shop is closing for good. Just then, Geo came walking up. Geo, what's going on? Asked Flacco. Hi, kids. Come on in, said Geo. They all followed him into the shop and gathered around anxiously to find out what was going on. Well, everybody, you know the big new pizza place downtown? It's able to sell pizzas for less than I do, Geo explained. A lot of my customers are going there now. I'm not getting enough business to stay open. But Geo, you can't close. We all love your pizza, and we all love you, said V-Girl. Hey, Geo, what if you made special pizzas that they don't have, suggested Pixel. Yeah, Geo. Who says you have to stick to the same as everybody else, said Flacco. I'm sorry, kids, but different ingredients would cost even more. And with business as slow as it is, I can't afford it, said Geo. Hey, Flacco, why don't you tell Geo what we were talking about yesterday, said V-Girl. Well, started Flacco. We were talking about how good the veggies from my garden taste. and wondering why more people don't just grow their own instead of buying from the big companies. Well, kids, I guess a lot of people think it's easier to just buy them, said Geo. Hey, Geo, what if you made pizzas with fresh organic veggies like Flacco grows? Asked Belle. Yeah, Geo. If we go get some for you, would you make us one? Asked Flacco. Sure, kids, but that's not going to be enough for me to stay in. Before he could finish, they were all out the door and running to Flacco's garden. After a short while, they were back with a wagon full of vegetables, fresh tomatoes, zucchinis, peppers, carrots, radishes, and even some basil and herbs. Wow, said Geo. You mean you got all of this from your garden, Flacco? Yeah, my grandma taught me how to grow veggies. So Geo took some of the fresh vegetables and made the kids 2 extra large special pizzas. They were so good that V-Girl and Flacco decided to cut them into small pieces and offer samples to people walking past the shop. Before long, there was a line of people trying to order some of Geo's fresh veggie pizzas. Geo was making them as fast as he could until he was all sold out. Geo, what if we plant a big garden out back? Suggested Lyric. Maybe we could get our folks to help us haul away all the stuff you have back there and turn it into a garden. That sounds great, Lyric, but it would be a lot of work and it would be months before we even produced any vegetables, said Geo. Yeah, but it would be fun, said Pixel. Besides, maybe you got to lose. Well, if you kids really feel like you want to, I actually love the idea, said Geo. So for the next few days, the kids showed up at the shop with rakes and shovels and started clearing out the weeds and the trash. They filled barrels and garbage bags. Then one morning, as some of the kids showed up to continue working on cleaning the yard, there were at least a dozen people standing outside the shop waiting for them. There was Mr. Brown, the garbage man, who brought his truck. Mrs. Lee was there with her construction tools. Mr. Jameson was there from the nursery with his wheelbarrow and gardening tools. Pixel's parents were there. In fact, to their surprise, all of the kids' parents were there. Standing smack in the middle was Pixel with a big grin on his face. Pixel, what's going on? We were wondering where you were. Where did all these people come from? Asked Ivy. I posted an online campaign and word got around. You should see how many hits we're getting. People are even pledging to donate more time and supplies to the Save Geo's Pizza campaign, said Pixel. Isn't it awesome? Is that why V-Girl's been taking so many pictures? Asked Geo. Yep, grinned Pixel. People see how much we're doing on our own and they want to support us. Wow, you kids really seem to know what you're doing, exclaimed Geo. Not really, chuckled V-Girl. We just believe in why we're doing it, so we trust it to work out. So as the kids would dig out weeds and turn the soil, the adults loaded the debris and hauled it away. After that, they planted all kinds of vegetables. They planted tomatoes, carrots, zucchinis, onions, squash, broccoli, and even spinach. Every day, the kids took turns watering the plants and making sure no weeds grew. They put up wire frames to help the tomatoes and added plant food to the water to make the plants strong and healthy. Finally, after 8 long weeks, most of the veggies were ready for harvest. Of course, V-Girl was taking pictures every step of the way, which Pixel posted to the online page they had started. By harvest time, there were many people following the Save Geo's Pizza campaign, even people from neighboring towns. Geo decided it was a good time to expand the size of the dining area and also open up the patio for seating. Finally, Geo's was ready for the big day, the day they had all been waiting for, the opening of the new patio garden. They put up flyers and posters all over town, and Pixel posted about it online. People came from all over. They were lined up outside, eager for Geo to open the doors. There was a salsa band playing on the patio, and Geo was making pizzas as fast as he could to keep up with the crowd's orders. Pixel was at the door welcoming everybody. Ivy and Lyric were showing folks to their seats, and Flocka was taking orders and suggesting different veggie combinations to people. Everyone was so excited. The Konscious Kidz were the happiest of all as they sat down to an extra, extra large Geos veggie special that Geo made just for them.
Oh, that was amazing. John, I think we're just going to have you be our resident reader. We'll just be bringing you back. And
well, I love reading. It's fun. It's a great way to go different places.
Yeah, well, you
without even
one thing.
Space.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but yeah, you mentioned one thing you love to read. So yeah, what else do you love about reading, apart from taking you to other places?
Well, it's a great way to have a view into other lives and cultures, and to, find out how other people feel and think about things. So it's, reading and literature and books are, and of course now, so much is online, so you don't, but I'm a lover. I love books. I love holding it in my hand and seeing the illustrations. And so.
Yeah. No, I am, unless I'm pressed for something, maybe that's when I will buy a digital book. But I always try and go and get, just a hard copy. I'm like that too, very much like that. Well, welcome back, Madeline.
Hello.
Just talking about, just the love of reading. I'm assuming you love reading too. And what do you love about reading?
Oh, I think all the reasons why we all love to embrace books and reading is it takes us on a journey through creativity of people's imaginations, and also of real life, people's experiences. Yeah. We're emoting feelings on a page into creative words, and it's just quite a journey for you to pick up a book and go into that space and take that ride.
Right, absolutely. And I think too, it ties in with what Nathan here, or Amanda, is saying. With Nathan is I wish you could see the smile on Nathan's face during this reading. And I think that's just powerful, because it is moments like that, right, that sometimes we might not experience in person, but they happen, and that books like yours are touching lives in such a way. So in that too, what inspired this book?
So
I'll let you take that.
Okay. Well, several things. For one, having grown up without seeing characters that look like me reflected in books. Also, we have twin girls, and as they were growing up, as they were very young, we were reading books to them before they could read, and it was a challenge to find books where the characters were the hero and the shero looked like them. And so when we decided that we wanted to write a children's book, it was also, what do we want to say to children? Right. And so, because that's actually a really large responsibility. Like, what do you want to say to children? And this is an opportunity to speak to the children. And so this is why the message we wanted to say was that you're each different, you're each unique, you each have so many things in common. So there's embracing the similarities and celebrating the differences. Yeah. But we each bring something to the table that's needed in our family and in our community, and that there's no big I and little you, and everybody's important. Just like an orchestra, not every instrument plays at the same time or the same note or with the same volume, but it takes every single one of them to make a beautiful composition. And so.
Yeah, no, I love that. And when you mentioned that music orchestra, yesterday I got to see happy birthday again, Felix. One of my friends' son had his birthday, and so we all met kind of in the backyard, and they were playing music. Everybody plays an instrument and stuff, and I had the like just a little shaker, and I made my rhythm. I was like, I'm sticking with it. It was fun. It was amazing. I thought my instrument was the most important. I was just like, yes. But, just saying like what you say there.
And it definitely added flavor to the whole experience,
Not everybody just being like, you're taking me off key, man. No. But like you mentioned that, like this book, you mentioned seeing people like yourself or seeing yourself in books, right? You've created an amazing array here. Both you and Madeline are just amazing. Can you tell us a little bit more about, because it's been a while since we've brought the Conscious Kids to Storytime. They're back now. So could you tell us a little bit more? I don't know how you're going to split it, but tell us just a little bit more about this amazing group.
Okay, so the Conscious Kids, excuse me, the Conscious Kids, the group of the kids on the front is 6 neighborhood friends from very diverse group backgrounds come together, just like any urban area in America or anywhere in the world. And, kids join easily and connect easily by nature, right?
Right.
No matter what color of the skin or someone looks like, this is what the nature of children are. They play together. Yeah. And the organic representation of our 6 kids on the front is naturally occurring in our world, right? So what we did was we took from our daughters inspired 2 of the characters, the twins in the story. And then we, at the time, it was been a few years, it was a huge project and undertaking, and it took a lot to produce it. But they had a group of friends that they played with from younger years, and they looked just like this group. So we had literally had a picture of that group of kids, and our incredible illustrator JERL Laws took to his artistic ability and started to create this group. We also then developed backgrounds for the kids that weren't our own. And developing the characters we took from our lives. I think John, did you mention Flacco? He's from Brooklyn, and Flacco was a childhood friend. I lived in South Korea for 5 years and in Thailand. And so I took from my community there and had them help me develop the character of Pixel. And we also, Lyric, the Irish American kid, a little bit like my nephews, but we built characters out of my background. And so each of the characters that we chose doesn't cover all of the different characters in the world, people in the world, but we did develop characters that we had a very close relationship to. And so there's how our characterization began of the 6 characters.
Oh, they are amazing. And I just thought I should show that too, that when you get the book and you have it close, whether it's from your library, please demand that, these books are made available. And so you can see and interact with these amazing characters. But, you touched on, how just kids love reading, playing together, things come naturally, and also just wondering too, like how has this influenced your community or even your own kids at home? Because sometimes, like they say, what's the saying? A prophet is never appreciated in their own hometown or something like that. So how do you think this has resonated with your own kids?
That's a great question. It's a really good question. I think it's had a huge impact on our girls. As far as I think the times, the last, they're 12 now, but I think the times when we had begun writing the book, we were in some tumultuous times. The kids were at marches with us. All of the community was together in the Bay Area doing a lot. And so to be writing the book, and also they not only inspired, but they added so much. Many of their conversations between their friends, which were very advanced for their age at the time, which was like 7 years old, 8 years old, they really became involved in the process of making the book. So not only were they the inspirations, but them and their friends and the community inspired the book. So as everyone kind of grew with the making of the book, when it finally came out, I'll let John share, there were some really impactful stories.
Yes.
Through representation and also through the social emotional content we weave throughout the book. Yeah. We deal with some really big, important life issues. But the book is so fun and so creative at the same time. It supports, so it's not out of balance with too heavy or this or that. It's just a perfect balance, and the kids get to see themselves represented on the pages. And we did see impact. I don't know.
Yeah, well, one of my favorites moments was taking the girls to school and walking through the schoolyard, and one of the dads who had just recently become a single dad stopped me, and he's like, "I have to tell you something." And I'm like, "What?" And he was telling me how he was reading one of the stories to his daughter, and how all of a sudden she didn't like she never would really wanted to talk about what was going on with her parents, and then all of a sudden she got really interested, and it opened up this whole conversation where, you know, for years she wouldn't talk about her feelings of her parents separating, and all of a sudden now she wanted to talk about everything that was going on, and he was just like, "So you did it." And I mean, that made everything, that moment for me, just, it was all worth it right then and there. Like I was like, okay, that's it, right? But there were other moments like where we would read to classes and the kids would identify with characters that didn't even look like them because they identified with their characteristics and personality, and or where they would see characters that looked like their friends. And so there was some really wonderful moments in reading to the kids that has happened. And on a personal level, you know, our kids watched us go through this entire process, and internalize the idea of becoming authors and illustrators themselves. And they write and they do art and they illustrate their stories, and which as a parent is of course amazing to see. So.
And just, you know, like just a big shout out to you, Simone and Vivian. Just, I think it's amazing. You know, I've honestly, I've been honored. I've been able to, you know, to meet them and just see, you know, just, you see their bubbliness, you see just that joy that they have around them. And just good morning to you. And just a reminder to everybody that is joining us as well, that you're watching Storytime, and we have today John Casselberry and Madeline Connor, the creators of The Konscious Kidz, and we're just having a little more conversation about the book. We just read chapter 2, Save Geos, and so welcome if you're just joining us, and if you're joining us on the recording, please go back to the beginning and get to enjoy everything, get to enjoy John's reading, and join us for more conversation. But yeah, so you mentioned in there, I mean, this book has it all. It has skateboards, it has murals, you know, colorful and everything, and which, you know, like I feel like tagging is one of the things that kids really respond to or connect with. It's ever cool, you know. And so to tie that into your work, how did you meet, you know, the people you've collaborated with on this book? You know, to start with, JERL, and I hope I'm saying that name correctly, Lowe's, the illustrator, like how did you meet? How did that come up? And just, it's just amazing.
JERL Laws. A very talented individual. He's so multi-talented, multi-hyphenated individual. We actually met him. We had been looking for an illustrator for, I guess, about almost 2 years. Just not really finding, you know, what we wanted, who we wanted, because it was important to us also. And this was so guided that everybody that came on board was so aligned with our purpose. You know, it wasn't just about creating a book, but with what they were so aligned with our why. And we met JERL through a friend who at the time was actually illustrating his daughter, she was 7 at the time, and wrote a story and was illustrating her story, and he showed us his illustrations, and I was like, I really like this. And I really liked and we really liked who he was, in as much as his spirit, if I, you know, is the best way I guess to say it. And so we worked very closely together on every single image, was painstaking in as much as, you know, like Madeline was so good with dressing the kids. And JERL would bring so much, like in the beginning of the story where you see Flacco running, you know, JERL would layer these little subliminal messages in some of the illustrations, like, you know, for example, Flacco's wearing a hoodie, holding a bag of Skittles, and he has on his sweatshirt, it's the number 3, and it says Vaughn. And he goes, "Did you notice that?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "It's Trayvon." And I was like, "Oh, wow."
Yeah, no, and
like he puts all these positive messages embedded into his artwork, and so to make it vibrant and make it relevant to things that were going on. And the muralists, where we were scouring the internet and driving up and down streets and asking friends to send us pictures of murals that they liked, resonated with, all across the country, from New York to LA to Detroit. And so when we would find a mural that we felt resonated with us in the story, we would find out who the artist was, contact the artist, tell them what we were doing, and of course ask them for permission. And when every single artist that heard that, once we told them what it was about and what the story was, they were like, yes. And so it was just, you know, it was in creating this project about community building, we actually wound up building a community of artists and illustrators and creators, and it was really quite a journey and a wonderful experience creating all of this. So
yeah, no, and exactly, I think that's what Deborah is saying too. What a journey. And it's just amazing. I think in that vein, can you touch on, you know, can you also just talk a little bit about Free Planet Press? Because I know that, you know, you've gone through this whole journey, finding an illustrator, you know, reaching out to people. And you mentioned, Madeline, too, when you were talking, you said, this has been, it has taken us a long time. It took us a lot to create this. So, and here we are, you know, we have this amazing project that I appreciate, and I'm sure many others will appreciate out there too. And again, tying in with what Deborah is saying, books are a lifeline and safety net for so many kids. And you know, educators, creators, I think we're tapping into this. You know, you mentioned that dad, that family that you know gets to have a conversation with their child because of, you know, books. So how?
Okay. I'm going to touch on that a little bit. It really has been a journey, and also the Free Planet Press part. But one little more part about representation. We were reading in some many classrooms and before the pandemic, and online too, and Zoom after. But I'll never forget, in the 3rd grade classroom, there was a circle, and an African American boy jumped up at one point and just yelled, "Yes! Flacco! Finally, a character like me! Looks like me. That's the main character." And so that is why we never let go of our mission. And we knew that when we were reading books to the kids when they were 4, 5, 6, we're like, wait a minute. There's picture books with poems and things like that, which are wonderful. But where is the story behind, the backstory behind characters? Where is the depth with their lives, but contemporary characters that were contemporary, like you're talking about our artwork and seeing the kids in real life, and all the historical stuff is so wonderful. But we felt a lack of material that was at the chapter book level, and also where kids of color get to see themselves splashed in color across the pages as an older reading level. Because as you get into 3rd, 4th, 5th grade in chapter books, sketches. So when kids of color get to see themselves with every characteristic, and JERL was so incredible with the realism of that's what we wanted, realism for the characters, not to see cartoon characters, but to see themselves literally reflected in the pages. So what we did was we held on to that became our mission, is to not let go of that, and going and seeking out our script with our text with the big publishers. It became a thing where it was a little bit disjointed as far as the timeline, getting callbacks from it, and then having this move forward. And so what we didn't want to we wanted to create we had built from the big publishing houses, Barbara Janenten, our book designer, came from Chronicle Books. We had different people working from different agencies that came on as a side project, and then we built a publishing team. So out of people coming on board with wanting to be a part of this building of this community to build this project out. So what organically happened is we are Free Planet Press. We became a small press in that. So that was we were able to get into independent bookstores, indie bookstores, be a part of the grassroots movement in the community without just only being a self-published book. So we then became a published book by a small press. So that opened doors in other ways. And there's more and more people working from this avenue like we are, and we're collaborating with them. So that's how organically, with people coming on board and wanting to see this book through, with our passion about it, our passion project, we continue to build the press out. And so that's literally organically how Free Planet Press came about. We continue to forge ahead on our own with that. And as the series builds out, we'll see where that goes. But right now, that's where we are.
Yeah, that's amazing. No, you touch on so many amazing things in there, and I swear I think you're looking at my notes over here. But one of the things I was going to talk about, you mentioned small presses, small businesses, and as we know too, there are also too many Geos out there right now. With the pandemic and so many, so many factors. One of which is what is mentioned in the book. Whether it's, big franchises coming in and taking over businesses because they're able to do things, at a lower cost and just powering through these neighborhoods. So, for places like Geos, first of all, let me just start. If you're listening in right now, please type in that small business in your neighborhood, that small bookstore, that indie publisher, or any business that you think we should highlight here, and we'll try and put it up here so people can know where it is and who it is, and just just to say thank you to them too. So please do that. Mine in Oakland, one of the places I go to all the time is Marcus Books. If you're around the Oakland area, Marcus Books. It's Black owned, and it is all books I get from there whenever I can, unless they don't carry it. But most of the times, we'll order it for you. So just Marcus Books, big up. And to everybody too, please send in those little businesses in your area. Feel free, John, too, to type in the chat. I'll make sure to put it up. But also coming back, how possible is it to save places like Geos, or why are these places so important?
Well, I think for one thing, local businesses, they give back to their own community, in as much as when you support a local business, the money that they make, since they're local, they're spending it. They're spending their money locally. Yeah. They're most likely sourcing locally sourcing, their inventory. And it just builds their community. It's, you get to know the proprietors of these small businesses, and you get, that personal touch with, So I think it's, if you strengthen, the expression I love is that the tide raises all boats. And so when you strengthen, if we want the world better, we start where we're at. And if I improve the things around me and you improve the things around you, we're making the world better. So I think that's one of the reasons, just for, when we wanted to talk about, I think we also wanted to talk about the humanity of community, and how communities are stronger when they work together. And that was an underlying message of the whole story, is about working together and about appreciating each other and being the gratitude for each other, like appreciating your differences. Like, I don't need to be Peter LaMotta. There's already a Peter LaMotta, right? And so that's wonderful. So I need to do what John needs to do, and then when we do this, when Madeline does what Madeline does, and it's this combination and this collaboration of spirit that creates these beautiful moments for us. So
Oh, that's amazing. And I just want to know, thank you, Rikia, for sharing 2 Marcus books. Absolutely love them. One of the things that you have in here, of course, is your dedication in this book. And I think every parent listening in out there, everybody listening out there, this will resonate. But I have, and it goes, this book is dedicated to Celeste, Rene, Simone, Isabella, and Vivian Rose. Your lives have changed our lives. You inspire us to become the best versions of ourselves. You're pure love and light. Stay conscious. And I just love that too, that you mentioned that how your lives have been changed and inspire you to become better versions of yourselves. And I hope this is what this book does to everybody that reads it out there. It's definitely done that for me. So in addition, you also have this child. So how have all those changed your lives?
Huge. It's huge. Big question. It's a wonderful question. Just in a moment's reflection on the children of the world and our children, you know, they come in so pure. They're born here, and the mystery of life and birth, and they're light. They're pure light. And I think with our world the way it is, and us struggling for some kind of harmonizing where we're not at, these little beings that come in all balanced and harmonized, we start to wreck that because of our inherited traumas, because of the trauma that we are trying to undo. At least in the generation that John and I are from, we're trying to recover from our own childhoods, so to speak. I mean, I think everyone, that's for everyone, goes without saying. And so we recognize that we weren't there, but we're always a work in progress. And the book has become, we didn't arrive as conscious parents, we're becoming. It's a state of becoming. Our kids came in conscious. The kids in the world come in conscious. But us as adults, we're in a state of becoming. And when we become more aware of that and become more humble, whether we're teachers, educators, or parents, being able to own ourselves, let our children know that we are a work in progress, but to still hold, still be the guides for them that they need. It's a delicate balance of harmony and power and empowering. And so I think that is truly what we have is our mission, is to keep the light lit, keep the spirit lit in children, our children too. And that means a lot of, the book is, The Konscious Kidz is a guide. It's for life skills. It's guiding principles. Each chapter is a container of a guiding principle that a story unfolds through. And it allows all of us to come together to look at truth, to look at what and cherish what we have in front of us. You as a teacher, us as parents, we are here looking at these beautiful, bright beings, and we're all going through a tumultuous time. But always there's flowers when there's weeds. Always new growth, and we want conscious kids and our kids and all kids to have that opportunity. And we have diligently given with this project and held on to it so that we can be a foundation for building more books in the series, and also for being a foundation for healing, really, truthfully, healing.
Peter, one of my favorite quotes, and I'm gonna completely butcher it probably, and I don't know the author either, but I saw it once, and it said, maybe it's not about becoming anything. Maybe it's about unlearning the things that keep us from being our authentic selves, like who we were meant to be in the first place. And it's like, and Madeline reminded me of it when she was talking about, babies are born complete, like they here, and then society kind of like beats us down. Yes. You use this car, and you better use this toothpaste, and that's what your wife or husband needs to look like, and
no, true. It is true. Yeah, there's so many things that are coming to mind right now that I can pull from, and it's saying that exact message, John, that you just said. And thank you. Yeah. And I like Deborah is saying too, like, I have the conscious parents work in progress. I think That is powerful there. It is a process. We cannot feel like we've arrived, right? So you mentioned in there too, one of the things you highlight, of course, is kid power. And I love this, just observing, I mean, looking right now at all the kids that are out there just doing amazing work. And just a few weeks ago, we read here The Art of Protest, and it highlighted some of those kids that are talking about, climate change and gun violence and all these different powerful things that they're tackling, and they're kids. And then too, it took me back when we were reading that to think of, say, when Good Trouble, started, he was young. Dr. King, you're talking of 20s and so on. You talk of so many of these protests, like, yes, we come to know them as, larger than humans when they've grown, but we forget where they started and forget how young they were, or even how young they died for different causes. So just thinking about this is like, how special and how possible is it, and how special is kid power?
Well, so kids have a lot of, and like you just mentioned, everybody there's so many pivotal moments in history, and more often than not, it was students that ended the Vietnam War. It was students that made these changes and these monumental changes and pivots in history, and so we wanted kids to know that you are the change makers. Like it's you. So we often talk about leaving our kids a better world, but I think we also want to make sure that we are arming them and tooling them up to not only be able to change the world, because they are going to change the world, but to understand that power and to empower them with their voices and direction so that they change it in a positive way, because they will change it. But the question is, how will they change it? So I think, the thing about kid power is that children are so powerful, I think what happens is they just, as time, learn better how to express what they're saying, but they come in with these powerful ideas. I sometimes often call babies like new teachers, because it's almost like they come here with a message and a lesson for us sometimes.
Yeah. That is amazing.
I think this is a generation right now, not to say not the college kids, but the youth, elementary, middle, and high school right now, they're in a time like with the shootings across America at high schools and in campuses and stuff like that. And, all the things that have happened the last few years that they've been witness to, and to have to let your, 5-6-year-old know that due to the color of their skin, they're at risk on the streets from and even people wearing uniforms. These things and these conversations that you have with your children are so heartbreaking. And to see that they don't become hardened by it, but that they have a voice and take action is happening right now. It's been happening when our kids were in 2nd, 3rd, 4th grade. They were writing poetry on their signs for the marches, and was the capture that they wrote was unbelievable. I'll say forever. And that voice that we allowed and supported to come out, that is showing up in creativity. It's showing up in just straight up standing up for myself, but it's empowering youth. And the more and more literature we have to empower youth at a younger age, with more adults like us, being guides to it, I think that we have really a powerful, empowered generation coming up of children.
Yeah,
and the world is out.
Amazing. I see it even just in my class. We've done protest art, and you see them create all these amazing things, and next they're doing a song. It's like, how did you even come up with that song? How did you even do this in a space of 40 minutes? So it's just amazing seeing that. We've had OUSD right now, as you're following with Oakland Unified, you're following everything that is happening and seeing students from Oakland Tech, Oakland High, marching down to Broadway and saying, hey, we demand these things for our community. And so to see that power, you know, like, it's just like what Pamela is saying. We see huge evidence of kid power throughout our history, with, you know, books such as No Voice Too Small, The Smallest Marcher, Let the Children March. I don't know if you've come across those yourselves. And then, yeah, just, you know, like, these are things we're observing in our communities. These are little ones that we're observing doing powerful things. And I think to celebrate them in books like this, you know, it might not name a particular person. It might, you know, we have Flacco, we have V-Girl and everybody else in here. But there are also V-Girls and Flaccos out there in our communities that we see every day. And so I feel like this is an ode to them, you know, and it's just such a powerful book. In closing, you know, like this, you two, I could talk to you forever. You know, hopefully we have you back here, you know, like hopefully we have you back here on Storytime for more. But just in closing, like how do we find you? Do you do author visits? Do you, you know, like, how do people find you? And also, just where and how, just please plug in, and then to like just any parting messages with anybody that is listening in right now. And of course, those that will be joining us later too.
So locally, we're in Books Inc. in Alameda, and in a couple of the Books Inc.s across the Bay Area. Also, you can, that's our website up there.
All indie bookstores.
All indie bookstores. That's our website up there, consciouskidz.com. Also, freeplanetpress.com. You can reach out to us directly. We also have some books on Amazon. If you go to the website, actually, there's a link there that will take you to where you can order directly from Amazon. And you can contact us directly. Please feel free to contact us directly. We're always happy to come to your school, to talk to the kids, to read to the kids, to work with caregivers and also with educators, and to talk about this mission that we all share. You know, that we're all, it's, you know, it's on all of us to not only to create a world for these kids, but to empower them and guide them and to help them find their voice, and not to tell them what their voice is, but to help them find it and listen to what they have to say, you know. So, and yes.
That's awesome. And
Peter, this was amazing.
Thank
We
you.
love this.
Thank you.
So honored to be with you in your space.
Thank you.
We've been enjoying your story time for some time now, and so we're really happy and honored to be here with you.
No, absolutely. Thank you so much. And Pamela Courtney, you know, just
thank you, Pamela.
Hugs. Absolutely love Pamela, and of course, the kids with her too, Braylon, Chad, Kavaya. Even though you're not here with us, we still, you know, like, I hope your new place is good. I hope your new place is good. But yeah, Pamela is from Natchitoches, Louisiana. Before we go to, I know that the original cover is this, but you have some swag around it.
Yes.
This book never gets cold.
Yeah, when the pandemic came out, we definitely made a tribute to essential workers.
Yes.
And JERL put masks, our wonderful artist JERL Laws. And if you can see that.
Yeah, let me just put one of us on so we can see that. Yeah.
See, Pixel has on his mask, and I love what JERL does. That's the Black Anthem on Pixel's mask.
Oh,
so just all those little things, you know, and the Irish kid being the ally, and it's just wonderful.
Yes.
But that is on our website. If you reach out, we can get you one of those wraparound covers.
We made this as a dedication to essential workers, and we wrote a dedication for them on the back. This book is dedicated in loving tribute to the many families who have lost loved ones during this unprecedented year. In homage to the hardworking, dedicated essential workers who put themselves in harm's way for the undercompensated and inadequate recognition of the immensely unquantifiable value of their efforts. Our global society owes you a debt that can never fully be repaid. This is offered as a token to celebrate your humanity, compassion, community spirit, and the exemplary demonstration of the guiding principles we strive to embody in our characters. We, the authors and creators of the courageous adventures of the Conscious Kids, wish to extend our deepest gratitude to you for your sacrifices and continued service to us all.
Oh, that is so beautiful. John, if you can, please share that, and we will repost. We will absolutely repost that message, because I think it definitely needs to be out there more. And just, so feel free, if you do anything, please just tag us, and even if it's just that message, so we can share it out there. It's just so powerful, much needed, and so many big topics that you share in there. Like Pamela says, like just blessings to you, and thank you for joining us on Storytime.
Thank you, everybody that joined us.
This conversation is not over.
Want to do it again?
Yes, so absolutely. Oh my goodness. Thank you to everybody that joined in. These were our special guests, Madeline Connor and John Casselberry, joining us today, and of course just sharing the Conscious Kids. Amazing. And of course I put my cover back on, the jacket on, just to show up. Big up to you, Vivian, as well. And oh my goodness, why am I blanking on
Simone?
Yes.
Simone.
Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. I'll catch you on the other side. Thank you. Oh my goodness. Everybody that joined us today, that was John Casselberry and of course Madeline Connor joining us from right here in the Bay Area and doing amazing work. Thank you so much for joining in. This has been Storytime. Please find their book where you find books. Find them at their press. Yes, find them on their website, and it is freeplanetpress.com, and all the different platforms that they're on. Instagram, which is at Conscious Kids, and of course on Facebook you can also find them at the Conscious Kids. Thank you so much for joining in, and of course not forgetting consciouskids.com. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. It has been a pleasure being here with you as always, and I look forward to another amazing reading tomorrow, another one that will be thought-provoking, and this one is Loving versus Virginia. Join me for this one, a powerful book indeed, and we'll be reading this one tomorrow, excerpts of it at least, and then hopefully we can get into conversation about that as well. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. I absolutely appreciate each and every one of you, and I hope that you have a lovely day out there. Like John and Madeline say, stay conscious. Please, let's play our part. It might seem small, but it is mightily important that our communities see us, that we show up, that we turn up for our communities. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Much love from me as always. I will see you again tomorrow, God willing, with another story. Please be well, stay healthy, please follow the health guidelines, and we'll see you again here on Storytime. Much love to you. Happy Tuesday, you and your loved ones. Thank you for being here, and thank you, a big thank you indeed to our guests for today. Absolutely love it. Yes, if this doesn't inspire you today, please look out. There are many chapters in this book. Go back to it and look at it, because it is just that powerful. Thank you for being here on Storytime. Much love. I will see you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Story time with Mr. Lamada, where all your dreams come true. He brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely, you won't just start on a reading. I just can't wait to be hearing your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't live lonely, you won't just start on the reading. We just can't wait to be hearing. Brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't live lonely, you won't just start on the reading. We just can't wait to be